When God is to bless you, He will often bring you down first. When God is about to increase you, He first decreases you. Why is He doing this? And there are times He first increases you and then decreases you again. What is this? Is God playing a game with you? No. He is not Satan. Okay? The reason why God brings you down first, or the reason why God decreases you first, is to give you perspective. It's not to make you feel how vulnerable you are, because you already knew that. It's not to teach you a lesson. No. It's not to change your attitude. It has nothing to do with sin. The reason He decreases you, the reason He brings you down first, is so your eyes will open to those around you. Because way too often we have this expectation that when we increase, those around us will rejoice with us. Or that society as a whole will rejoice with us, or I'm saying in us, when we increase. Now, this error in your thinking is what God wants out of you. How does He do this? He will bring you down financially and economically, sometimes even socially, for a short period of time, so that you will see who people really are. When you are at your lowest, it's then that you are not distracted by all kinds of activities. It's then that you have time to look around you and to notice things. So God will slow you down to open your eyes. And it's when He slows you down that you will see who people are. It's then you will see that, for example, your grandma or your uncle or your cousin or whoever it is that you esteem highly is an individual you really are better off without. It's then that the narrow-mindedness and the tunnel visions of those around you become visible. It's then that the unbelief manifests of those around you. And it's then that you will understand why God slowed you down. He slowed you down to prevent you from crashing later on. It was not that you would destroy yourself, no. It is that you were surrounded by folks that had no intention of walking in life and abundance. And God knows very well that eventually it would lead to a crash. So the Most High prevented that crash by slowing you down. He only slows you down to speed you up again in the right time. But you need to be humble to get along when God slows you down. What I mean is, be humble to endure when God decreases you. When God slows you down, be humble to receive it. That's also something you need to receive when He slows you down. Too many folks, or too many believers, want the increase. They want to go up, they want to go higher. They want to receive all of that, but they don't want to receive it when God slows them down. And I'm telling you, you need to be slowed down before you speed up. Some of you want to be launched in a high speed and you want to continue in the speed all the time. That's not how God works. He'll slow you down to speed you up. And when the time comes again for you to be slowed down, He will slow you down. So agree with Christ when He slows you down. Haven't you noticed that Joseph was slowed down? Abraham was slowed down. Haven't you noticed that David was slowed down multiple times? You had the apostles slowed down by Christ Himself. When you go to the Old and New Testament, every time God was about to bless someone, he slowed them down first. Now look at this. There were a few exemptions when God did not slow someone down, but the end result was disastrous. Look at Solomon. Solomon was not slowed down. Jeroboam, who received 10 tribes from Israel after Solomon's death, was never slowed down. And what happened? He did not trust God on his word, even though he received the promise of receiving the 10 tribes. He went to demonic spirits to get assistance, even though the Most High himself told him, you will receive the kingship of those 10 tribes after Solomon dies. And it happened. So he got what God said, but still didn't trust God. He was still negative minded. Solomon, he left the Lord. And he involved himself with demons and all kinds of stuff. That's why secret societies today honor Solomon. Why would they honor someone who had the Lord? They wouldn't. Look, when God slows you down, it's to increase you. But before the increase, the decrease needs to happen. Because the decrease frees you from time bumps. Because some of the people and some of the associations you had were time bumps. They were about to go off very soon. So when you decreased, you lost all those time bumps. When you watch crime documentaries, you have those shortened documentaries of around 12 to 15 minutes. Normally a crime documentary like an hour and a half, but you have those shortened versions. You can watch them on YouTube and I believe on Vimeo also. When you watch those shortened crime documentaries in which they show you all the facts of the case, how the case was solved, and who was a perpetrator eventually and all of that, there's one thing you'll notice. Many of the homicide victims who were murdered, either by their ex-wives or their wives or someone close to them, they were never slowed down. For example, there was this businessman who I'm not sure what his business was, but he had a fortune and he married this model. Well, she was really a supermodel, but she was a model. Because remember, men of supermodels are trannies, but this was a real woman. She was just modeling. She didn't earn that much, but she met this guy and they fell in love. You know how it goes. They got married. They had kids. And one day, the guy was killed by a man who had an affair with his wife. Because the wife was fed up with him. She was materialistic and she wanted to keep all the money to herself. So she used her lover to get rid of her husband, and after her husband died, she got rid of the lover also. She had another man already to replace that lover, and she married that other man. Not the lover, but the one she replaced the lover with. So that man that killed her husband, for her, thought they would become happy together. It was a hoax. She used that guy also. Now, what if this homicide victim, what if he followed Christ and Christ decreased him first? What would have happened was that he would have seen how common people, how worldly people are, and he would have been alert when a predator came to him. He would have recognized a sheep in wolf's clothing and he would have walked away. But because he was not decreased first, he didn't gain any perspective. Because when God decreases you, it's so that you will increase in your perspective. And eventually, when you increase in your perspective, you'll increase materially, financially, and socially. So what God does is always to increase you, but his ways are different than yours. But this homicide victim, I'm not sure if his name was Mark, but I'm not sure what his name was, but let's call him Mark for now. If Mark would have been decreased first, it would have benefited him in the long run. But he was not decreased, he just had his success, got his fortune, then got an attractive wife. They soon had kids, we thought he had the jackpot, he settled down. It was a trap. And not only he was affected, also his children who now had to live with the fact that their mother was a murderer and their father was gone. So look, when God decreases you, it is an investment in your long-term well-being. So be humble to receive God's hand when He decreases you. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.